Following up from the recent teaser reveal, we've received the first full-length trailer for Pacific Rim: The Black, and it provides plenty for us to analyse in this video.
What is that?
The trailer begins with a ravaged, war-torn Australian city as Taylor and Hayley sit upon their Jaeger, remembering the past. We get a flashback where we can see the commonly shown kaiju approaching a transport unit containing the siblings and other individuals. The terrifying kaiju spawns a protrusion through its right palm and prepares to strike the transport as people scream. Right before the flashback comes to an end, we hear that Taylor and Hayley had barely escaped this encounter. This flashback expands upon the kaiju's brief appearance in the teaser trailer, where it can be seen peering into the transport unit. Still sat upon their grounded Jaeger, Taylor stands up and states that the two siblings will be getting out of the Australian wasteland. This scene appears to be set halfway through the first season of the series. There's a brief moment in the trailer where the siblings are walking through a destroyed, barren city, seemingly exploring the area, and Hayley calls out for any survivors, only to receive no response. We then hear that the siblings have been waiting for their parents to return for 5 years, suggesting the main events of this series are set 5 years after the kaiju invasion of Australia. The date of this invasion is yet to be determined. As we hear this, we see a much younger version of the siblings with two adults, most likely their parents. The adults are in drive suits, suggesting the children's parents were rangers who fought against the kaiju in this invasion of Australia. We then see a Jaeger, supposedly piloted by the parents, walking away from the siblings and into a desert as Taylor cradles his younger sister. In this flashback, we see Taylor has on a Pan-Pacific Defence Corps jacket, which Hayley is then wearing 5 years later. It's possible that the siblings grew up in PPDC family housing at their regional Shatterdome. In the present day, the siblings get into a heated argument about whether their parents will be returning for them or not, and Taylor throws what appears to be a drive suit helmet against the wall, damaging it. We then get a brief segment of a kaiju breaching, however this time not underwater, but instead in the middle of a city. This has not been seen before, and if this is solely the work of the precursors, then it would suggest that they've managed to drastically upscale their energy production. Breaches ideally occur closer to the Earth's core, where they are easier to open, so the fact that we are seeing a kaiju breach at surface level is a major concern. This is most likely one of multiple breaches that have occurred around Australia, commencing the invasion. In the next part of the trailer, we see Hayley walking through a wilderness as she falls down a hole and lands in what appears to be an abandoned facility. After walking along a corridor, she enters a Jaeger bay and is presented with a seemingly abandoned Jaeger. Hayley proceeds to enter this Jaeger's con pod, and the mech's systems come to life, displaying a large variety of holographic controls. These displays reveal that the Jaeger is called Atlas Destroyer. We can see that there's also a user guide available with at least 10 lessons. This suggests that we may get to see the siblings in training, potentially practicing Jaeger Bushido before their first engagement against a kaiju. Hayley then interacts with the Jaeger's onboard AI, named Loa. This is unique, considering that Loa appears to be a smart AI, and up to this point we have only observed dumb AI being used in Jaegers. If Loa is indeed a more intelligent, capable AI, then this would explain why there is no need for drive suit technicians to assist the siblings in equipping their gear. Loa may allow for increased automation. Hayley introduces her brother to the Jaeger, and they both gear up in some advanced-looking drive suits before setting out to find their parents. Next, we see a clearer animated version of the frame showing a kaiju pushing Striker Eureka into a PPDC building, briefly seen in the teaser. Striker and the kaiju remain still. However, we can see that the meteor-like objects are moving through the sky. It is not clear if the shot is presented this way for the trailer specifically, or if this is a flashback or narration segment of the series, in which some shots will have less action and consist more of still images. We then see Taylor and Haley in the present day, looking up at this same PPDC building years after the battle. We do not yet know what this building is, or what it contains. We quickly transition to the siblings running away from a canine-like, kaiju-based creature as it pursues them. In the next shot, we observe what appears to be a child, landing directly on Atlas Destroyer's conpod visor and crouching still. The next part of the trailer shows Atlas Destroyer laying down flat in the background as the siblings have an intimate conversation. We can see 3 individuals standing on the downed Jaeger, who may be PPDC personnel. They appear to be armed, but not belligerent. The trailer then shows a quick scene of Taylor in Atlas Destroyer, charging up some sort of weaponry, before we're shifted to another familiar frame from the teaser, in which a large kaiju is rising in front of the siblings. We're then placed in the Atlas's conpod, alongside the siblings, as a quadrupedal kaiju rapidly approaches the Jaeger. The siblings then deploy what looks like a plasma caster in the next shot, according to the holographs, and we get a clear view of Atlas Destroyer stood upright. The novice pilots proceed to leap in the air, preparing to bring a fist down on the kaiju. A metallic object can be seen flying next to the Jaeger. However, it is unclear what this may be. In a short but stunning segment, we see the secondary unidentified Jaeger jamming a live missile into the mouth of a kaiju, producing an explosion of undetermined magnitude. A closer look at this Jaeger shows that it may have shoulder cannons of some sort. We briefly see Haley react in shock to something, potentially the missile's explosion, before getting a scene of the child observed earlier, standing in front of some sort of energy beam as a kaiju-like object moves in the background. We then see the kaiju, which Striker supposedly battles against, lunging forward to attack with a pair of tails. The trailer cuts to Atlas Destroyer preparing to deliver a powerful blow to a kaiju, with the same energy beam seen earlier appearing in the background again. Electric arcs can be observed in the immediate vicinity. There's an instant transition to the other Jaeger seen earlier, also delivering a powerful punch. In a fight against the kaiju seen at the beginning of the trailer, we can see that this Jaeger has a reactor similar to Gypsy Danger and Avenger's Vortex turbines. The Jaeger slugs the kaiju in the jaw hard enough to draw blood, but the kaiju returns the favour and both titans are knocked back. This may be the siblings' parents' Jaeger, and it may have been them who saved their children from this kaiju's rampage, though we don't know yet for sure. It is clear that this engagement occurs at the start of the kaiju's invasion of Australia, and it's possible that this kaiju was killed then and there. Next, we see an unidentified individual standing over a briefcase containing 2 glowing orbs that possess a kaiju-esque appearance. These may play an important role in whatever is going on. We're then presented with a man who may be the individual earlier appearing to be the sibling's father, standing in front of Atlas Destroyer with a mischievous expression. Finally, we have the siblings sprinting out of what may be the PPDC building seen earlier. Haley is holding what looks like a power core, or possibly a containment unit for the 2 orbs, and Taylor is carrying the child from earlier. The child appears to be lacking clothing, and we can see that PPDC is printed on his undergarment. In the background, a PPDC banner hangs inside the building. It's unclear whether the man depicted on the banner is a real individual or a symbolic characterization. A pair of the canine-like creatures leap out of the building, rapidly chasing after the siblings. We can see that although they're small in scale compared to a standard kaiju, they're still much larger than any human. As one of the creatures pounces at Haley to secure the kill, it's grabbed in mid-air by a gargantuan black and red gauntlet and crushed to death. The siblings turn around, looking in horror at a petrifying silhouette as it rises to its feet, towering over them and emitting a disturbing sound as it does so. This trailer has provided more insight into the series' plot and given us a lot more to look forward to. There is plenty of mystery surrounding the child seen throughout the trailer, and we have little to no information at this point in time that could suggest who they are or what their role is. Atlas Destroyer's design also raises questions. It would make sense if this is a post-war Mark V Jaeger. However, if this is a Kaiju war-era Jaeger, then how was such an advanced design achieved? Even with its brief appearances in this trailer, it's clear that Atlas is an impressive Jaeger, inside and out. We don't know how long this Jaeger has been abandoned for, or why it was abandoned to begin with, assuming it really was. The man who may be the sibling's father, displaying suspicious behaviour at one point in the trailer, appears to have some connection or interest with Atlas Destroyer. The other Jaeger, who we cannot yet identify, looks particularly interesting. We'll hopefully be learning more about them both soon. It is unclear how these smaller canine-like kaiju have made it to Earth. Assuming they didn't come through the breach, they're either being manufactured in Australia somehow, or were initially produced by a kaiju and have been breeding since then. It's known that some kaiju carry parasites or other creatures with them from the antiverse, depending on how the precursors have designed a particular kaiju. But at this moment, we can't tell what the case is here with these ferocious beasts. The silhouette at the end of the trailer strongly resembles that of a Jaeger-Kaiju hybrid, and a deadly one at that. Why this entity chose to save the siblings, and whether this action was intentional, is unknown. It's possible that there may be someone experimenting with kaiju tissue and its integration with technology, leading to such a creation. There are many other aspects to discuss, such as the orbs, Striker's engagement, or the powerful energy beam of some sort, spotted a couple of times throughout the trailer. A lot of this will have to wait until the series is released for further information. The trailer does an excellent job at highlighting the phenomenal music, animation, and voice acting being used in this series. This is said to be one of the most expensive Netflix anime series to roll out, and it's clearly reflected in the astonishing production quality. However, it appears as though Taylor and Haley are Australian, yet they possess an American-sounding accent. This can certainly be overlooked, and shouldn't impact how good the show turns out to be. Though it would of course be preferable if the appropriate dialect was used if these siblings are originally Australian. Considering this was titled Trailer Number 1, it's possible we'll be receiving more content before this series is released on the 4th of March. That is all for this video. Please share any thoughts or theories in the comments section. Thank you for watching.